All right, what's up YouTube? Today we're going to be working through a Western style painting. But before I get started, as always, if you like this piece, check out my Etsy store. I'll put the name over here on the right. Link is in the description. This painting as well as others are in there, so go check it out. And then of course, if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and be on the lookout for more content. Okay, so I'll put our reference photo over here on the right. Before I get started, just a quick kind of disclaimer here. I'm going to go ahead and start wetting my paint. Normally, my videos have some sort of I guess like a purpose or like a lesson to them where we're focused on one aspect, but this is going to be more of just a demo, I guess. This is a little bit more of a technical painting. I'm going to stick pretty close to our reference photo. There may be a few things I change, but in general, we're going to stick to this and be a little bit tighter. I'm generally pretty loose with painting, but I'm just going to walk you through kind of my thought process and what I'm thinking as we work through this watercolor. Okay, let me go ahead and get a little water on the brush. You'll notice here too, my palette's pretty dirty. I almost never clean it. I think that the mixture of colors you get, the grays and things, are always better than any gray or neutral tint that you could get out of a paint tube. And so I don't know, I kind of like to leave it there. I want this first wash, it's got to be really light. So I'm going to wet the paper here just with some dirty water, just so that as I'm adding in this first wash, it'll really kind of bloom and spread out. And I know I said I'm going to stick close to that painting. The one thing I am going to do a little bit different is I want to add just kind of like maybe just a little bit more interesting of a sky. Kind of have a little bit of I'm going to add some of this. This is Hansa yellow medium. This is I'll put a little burnt sienna in here, a little yellow ochre. I want to kind of have just that little bit of a gradient. Let's see if that's too strong. I don't think so. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, we'll do that. This first wash is going to be pretty quick, pretty simple. And if you watched my previous video, again, when it comes to landscapes, and this is kind of a landscape painting, it obviously has this horse here and this cowboy in it. So the landscape itself is not really the subject, but a lot of what I talk about in that previous video kind of applies here. So, all right, let's see. Just kind of darken this a little bit. Kind of pull that through. Let's just add some kind of just real fun colors in there. Break it up a little bit. I want some more yellows. Pull some just straight Hansa yellow here. Let's just we'll just let the paint do its thing. Again, I'll say this a lot, but your watercolor is a much better painter than you are. So sometimes just wet the paper and let it do its thing. Another kind of deviation I'm thinking here from our subject photo. I can't decide if I want to add some clouds or not, but I don't know. Let's see. If I just add just a little something there. I don't know. We'll see if I end up liking that or not. But yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. I think I like that. Again, it'll soften up. It'll be really light once this dries. And then one last thing I'm gonna do before we let this wash dry is I'm gonna prep. I've kind of got this horizon line here. I'm just gonna throw a few kind of softer pieces in there. Maybe through the horse's body, but yeah. Just a few things in the background there to kind of push it away. Let me get it really dark here. Yeah, I'm always varying that tone. And again, that'll be so much lighter here in just a minute. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let me see here. I don't want to overdo anything, but let's just kind of run this through, break up that ground a little bit. Okay, cool. All right, we'll leave that as is. Let's let this dry and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, we are back. This is completely dry and we're gonna work on our second wash here. Now, as I start to think about how this painting is gonna work, I really like our first wash. And normally in a landscape, I like to leave the sky in the foreground here the same tone. So in other words, I wouldn't paint another layer over my foreground. But just based on our reference photo, I think it kind of makes a little sense. It looks like it's a little bit more, and I'll put it over here on the right, but it kind of looks like it's a sunset scene. The foreground is a little bit darker, and so we're going to add kind of an intermediary wash. I like to think of my paintings in 3 washes. You've got your first, your second, and then you add your darks and you're kind of done. This one is going to have, I'm going to count this as wash 1.2, I guess. It's a just something to kind of give this foreground here a little bit more darkness to kind of separate it from that sky. So I've got some wash already kind of set up from our previous one, and I'm just going to use that. So we'll give this a light spray, just kind of help the paint spread around. And let's start to work our way in here. Again, I don't want it to be too dark. And you're going to see me kind of just go through a lot of my figures here, and that's because they're going to end up being darker than this wash. So it really doesn't matter all that much. Okay, again, just kind of push through there. I just want to leave a few little white spots behind as well. Let's do what we were doing earlier. I want to go ahead and pre-set up some of my background bushes and things. Again, I'll end up coming in much darker, but it doesn't hurt to preset a few of these things. There we go. Let's darken that up just a little bit. Okay. And a good trick here. Oops. Let me grab my paper towel. Good trick for your trees and things in the background is to use the side of your brush. I don't want too much paint on here, but it kind of helps create this kind of broken tree sort of, I don't know, bush feel back there. So it's easier to get if you just turn on your side. I'm almost painting with like the back of the brush. The tip is sort of up in the air. It's always helped me. All right, so a little green in there. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let's just keep working our way down through this area here. Give that just another spray to keep it wet. I'm gonna grab my larger brush. All right. Again, I'm gonna leave some areas of the paper still showing that first wash, but definitely needs to be a little bit darker here so we get that feeling of that sunset. And then again, towards the bottom of my paper, I want to be thinking darker darks just to kind of pull that forward. All right, something like that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good here. Let's do, well, it's too wet. I want to use this to kind of scrape some bushes and things. Let's use a little wet paint there. Good. Wet on wet is just kind of a great way to paint some little objects and not have to worry about them too much. They'll just kind of soften into the background. And I always want to be stress-free when I'm painting. Let's just darken up the base of that bush a little bit. Okay. I think, let me just take a little bit more of that dark. Go down here at the bottom. So far, I'm liking this. Just adding a few more kind of dark spots here and there. Okay. All right. I think we're going to let this dry. Actually, you know what? We're going to do one thing. I want this horse here is going to be very dark compared to the sky behind it. And so in order to get that feeling, I want to just throw a little paint inside this shape so that when I come back over it and do this next wash, it's easier to get it darker and I can get that contrast. So I'm just throwing a little bit of paint in there. Not too much. I'm not too worried about my lines or anything. And again, I'll do the same thing here with our cowboy. I'll just throw a little dark paint in there. Maybe we'll throw a little something on his hat here. Just a little something, so it'll be easier to darken up on our next wash. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's let this dry. And oh, sorry, one thing before we let it dry. Let's see if I can scratch something here. Oh, perfect. It's better. It's still kind of wanting to fill itself in, but that's okay. Yeah, we'll take it though. Not too worried. All right, let's let it dry. We'll come back and get to our third wash. All right, we are all dry, ready to start the next wash. This is where the painting is going to start to take shape. And I know right now it looks like nothing. It looks, I don't know, it looks like it's not going to turn into anything. But again, it's kind of the fun thing about painting is you really don't know what you have until the end. So, all right, we're going to start to work. I think we'll work on our cowboy first. I'm going to spray the paper just a little bit there. And I'm just going to keep these pretty neutral, kind of warmish tones. I don't know. I may give him like a red shirt or something to give just a little bit of color. This is where my normal looseness is going to kind of be pulled to the side a little bit. So feel free if you get, hopefully this isn't boring, but it just takes a little bit of time to get around these shapes. And again, this is not going to be our final wash. So I'm still thinking about leaving just little bits of that, that light behind, because I can always come back and make things darker. It's pretty hard to you know, create interest and negatively paint if you've already painted over everything. So just keep that in mind. All right, paint here. That's okay. Kind of messed up my sketch here a little bit. I kind of took his jawline away. See if we can't pull that in a little bit. Once again, just another great use of this brush. So unfortunately in painting, you can't really erase that well, but I don't know. It kind of lets you do it. Let's give it a spray. And then I may just come in with some pure dark here for the back of his hair. Okay. a little bit more water. All right, what do we want to do with this shirt here? Kind of want to go red, I think, or red-ish color. I'll do red with darker pants. That's not very red. Looks like the same color as his skin. Let's do that. Yeah, that's better. And again, just remember, you still have another wash to go. So as you're painting along, don't start to look at everything to go, I don't like the way that looks, I don't like this. The painting is not done yet. Give yourself some time. Don't try to finish the painting mid-wash. All right, there's some things I don't like about this. The shape of his face got kind of weird. Hat doesn't look very good. I don't know. But I'm not worried. We're going to make it work. I'm going to save it. And something I'm thinking about too, as I work down this way, is I want to try to negatively paint in some grass and things. I don't want to have to paint the bottom of them. We'll have to see here. I kind of wanted him to fade into the grass a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Again, I'm just letting the painting do what it wants to do. I'll do some kind of blue jeans here. All right. I probably should have painted my pencil lines a little darker. Kind of getting hard to see my lines, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. And the reason I'm not finishing it, I'm trying to make it look kind of like grass or something, almost negatively painting behind him. All right, let's do that. Okay. And then we've got just a little bit of his boot kind of showing through, and I'm trying to move my head around so I can see where that boot line was, but we're just going to have to kind of wing it a little bit. Somewhere in there, I think. Yeah, looks all right. Not quite the look we're going for. That's okay. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it. All right, let's get kind of the skin tone of the arm here. I'm also just going to give this another spray. All right. There's that. And then he's got some gloves on, but I think I'm just going to worry about painting those gloves in the next wash. So we're going to make this the same color here. Trying to get these fingers painted. All right, that looks okay. Again, I'm not totally happy with what's going on here, but we are going to make it work. All right. I'm going to take my paper towel. Let's see if I can't just kind of push that back just a touch. Not quite. See if I can't fix his nose a little bit. I don't know if that made it worse or better. Let's see. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Again, that's another thing is like, if you're not super pleased with the way something's looking, just kind of just let it dry. You come back, add some more tones to it. You'll figure it out, but don't try to finish it before it's, you know, don't try to save it mid-wash. All right, it's not our last wash. If it was, then yeah, we'd be working on it a little bit more. But all right, let's get into our horse here. Okay. Just a few things. I gotta get the ears. Oh no. That's okay. That's why we got a paper towel. That is why you got a paper towel. Look at that. Good as new. Okay. All right, let's get these ears right here. Okay, I got one. And there's two. Okay. And I'm already thinking, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this horse as dark as I want. And same thing for our cowboy figure. So we may actually do 5 washes on this, which I don't normally like to do, just because, again, part of the reason I love watercolors because it's quick. You can make things happen pretty fast. It dries quick. So I don't normally do that, but for these types of paintings, sometimes it is a requirement. All right. Let's start to do. Let's pull that over. Need some more paint here. All right, let's pull that over and let's just keep it moving. All right. Yeah, I'll just put some dark here again for his mane. Leave that there. Probably won't matter because we're going to come back through, I think. But we're just going to keep on cruising here. All right, again, trying to make sure I can see my lines. Horses kind of have that, I don't know the technical terms, like an elbow, but you know what I mean. Okay. I'll paint this side. Okay. All right. And they also, thinking about this as I'm painting this horse here, but I don't know, I kind of want to have it softer, I think, where his hooves kind of go into the grass a little bit. We'll figure that out here in a minute. All right. Let's keep working here. Okay. Go. Come back here. Touch through there. Sorry, there's not a whole lot of great commentary for this part of the painting. It's just kind of me working around. All right. go. Okay. All right. Let's get this guy here. Okay. Just kind of throwing some darker shapes in there that maybe later will turn into those saddlebags and other things. Oops, sorry, bumped my camera off my head there. Okay, maybe let's do, had that there. Okay, looking okay. Let's do, I want to scratch out. Maybe too soon to do it, but our stirrups here. Again, get one of these palette knives. It is so good. It's so good. I'm kind of looking off to the side here because I want to continue to kind of scratch these highlights in here. We've got this bit here. Eventually, we'll have the reins there. And then just taking, again, just scratch those highlights in. It is such a good way to break up your painting here. Some people are masters at just planning all this out ahead of time. Me, not so much. I'm gonna scratch in. It looks to be kind of a rifle or something strung in here, so have those. Okay. I think we're looking pretty good. Definitely some work to do. Very plain Jane looking painting right now, and I do not like the look of this cowboy's face. Is kind of throwing me off, but that's all right. One thing before we go to our next step is I gotta add just a little bit of some more kind of stuff here in the background. Again, I'm going to use the side of my brush. Okay. Just to kind of break it up through there. And maybe I'll use the point to put just a little bit more paint and detail in there. Okay. All right, we're getting there. Okay, let's let this dry and we'll come back and we'll start adding in our darks. All right, time for the final wash. This is completely dry. We are ready to start what will hopefully be our last wash. This is where the painting is, again, fingers crossed, going to come together. I don't think it's, I wouldn't say it's completely out of kind of the ugly stage yet, so we're going to get to work on it. Starting with the darks of our cowboy's shirt. Again, just going to give it a spray here. All right. And again, it is so important that you wait until this is actually dry. If you try to add what we're about to do in here before it's dry, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. Now sometimes you might be trying to go for kind of like a wet on wet type thing, and that's different. But just in general, just be patient, let your stuff dry. All right, let's see here. Just trying to add some of our wrinkles and things to this shirt. Okay. It's really more just dark here. Just darken that up a little bit. And I've been thinking about how I want to make this transition here. I think I'm going to try to scratch some grass in here in a second after I kind of, again, just want to okay. We're going to come back up to and work on that cowboy hat as well here in just a second. All right. This is what I'm thinking. I think that's going to help make it look like he's sitting down in the grass, but I don't know. We'll find out. All right, let's do our pants here. I've kind of got my reference photo off to the right so I can keep track of my tones. These pants are pretty dark, so we're just going to go for it. All right. Just a little bit of water there. And again, too, y'all, if you're feeling like you can't get something dark enough, just let it dry. Let it dry and then go over it again. I promise it'll get dark. All right, we're gonna do our same thing here. I'm gonna scratch that up. I'll come back through and clean that up in a second. All right, it's looking better already. Now I will tell you all, that boot, I do not like the look of that boot one bit, so we're gonna have to fix that. Okay. Let's see if we can't fix this boot. The shape of it's just kind of funny. It needs to be more dramatic, I guess. I don't know the word for it. It's too roundy. I feel like a boot is very square. I don't know. I think that made it better-ish. Okay. All right. Looks pretty good. Okay, I'm okay with that. Let's go back up and work on our cowboy hat and the face. Actually, before we do that, let's fix these gloves and his hands. I'm going to do some yellow ochre, kind of make some orange work gloves, I think is how we want to do this. It's not quite dark enough. Let's do this. Even a little darker than that. Okay. Let's put maybe just all right, I think that looks okay. It's not the end of the world, but let's put some color on that so it's like very clear that there's some gloves going on here. And the shape of that's just funky, so let's take this. I want to draw a little bit more of a line. Maybe something like that. I don't know if that helps or hurts. I can't really tell. Let me come back and revisit those in a second. But either way, we're getting some of that dark contrast. Again, that is really like the absolute key to watercolors. You can already start to see how much more interesting this shape is when you start adding that that second wash, and there's this more weight to it. All right. I realized last time when we did this gentleman's hair, he didn't really have much of an ear, so we're going to fix that. Let's grab a small brush here. See if we can't take and fix that. Not quite what we're going for. Let's see if we can't scratch it in there to make it better. And this may end up being a really good demonstration because I'm messing up a lot of things, so you can see me try to fix it. There are no promises here, but we're doing okay. All right, let's do our hat. Now, I want to make that hat darker. Let's use this brown over here. Okay. All right, sorry, something just happened on my camera. Hopefully, I didn't mess anything up. All right. Let's lighten that up just a little bit. Add a little water. Add a little yellow ochre. Make it not so severe of a color. Okay. That looks better, I think. We'll take our smaller brush here. Just around the edge there. All right. Let's fix that. I kind of got an idea. I think I want to, let's see here. Okay, I think that hat looks much better than it did. Let's see if I can't. I want to do a little work on our gentleman's face here. I just feel like the shape got just a little bit messed up. So I've got my smallest brush here. I think that's better-ish. Better-ish. That chin out there a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks better. Much better. Nose is kind of pointy, but that's nothing we can't fix. If you can't tell, painting figures is not really my forte. I'm always extremely envious of people that can paint really nice figures. Let's add a little highlight here. Just along the brim of that cap, or his hat, I guess. Okay. All right, we're coming along. Let me kind of push through here a little bit. All right. One thing before we move over to our horse. Again, this is just not dark enough for my liking. Let's come back in here. Really darken those hands up. This is why it is so important, y'all, to leave those early washes light, because to get your shapes to pop, you've got to be able to lay darker colors on top. And if you're too dark already, it's just, it can't really be done. I wanted to work that kind of ear shape in there just a little bit better. You just have the start of an eye or something there. I don't know. We'll leave it like that. Okay. Enough messing around with him. Give him one spray before we move over to the horse. Let's think. Is there anything else I want to throw on our gentleman here? I don't think so. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right. Let's work on our horse. Sorry, this is definitely one of my longer videos. It's just when you paint these types of things, it just requires a little bit more accuracy, I guess. All right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to add some darks under the jowls and features of our horse here. All right, we'll kind of pull up in here. All right. Let's pull something here, kind of for his neckline. And let's trace just under that. Sorry, I know my shadow's in the way of the camera there. Okay. All right. Trying to remember too what I painted earlier. So we've got these, these sorts of things. We're just going to start to add the back shadows of items. Okay. Let's work down one of these legs here. Okay, let's do a bit of this. I want to use that same thing we did earlier for our Cowboy's kind of button leg. Here is kind of pull some grass up through there. We can hide our horse. And then here, this will really help show this leg is on the other side. So we'll really darken this here. Again, same thing. Kind of set that there. I like the look of that. Kind of running out of my paint mixture. I don't want to add more water though, so I want it to stay dark, but it's getting a little bit tough here. So I'm going to add something here. I'm going to just really darken up our horse's belly. Okay. And then maybe up under these saddlebags here. There's this kind of, trying to figure out how to best do this, but And I'll just keep moving along here. But I want to get this shadow here of where the leg kind of comes in a little bit. Let's pull that down. Give it a little, I like that. Okay, let's keep working, keep working. Try not to get stuck in one spot for too long. Okay. All right. Let's do our eye, nose there. And there'll probably be a little shadow on the back of these ears here. Okay, and then definitely got to get the top of the head there is going to be dark. And then where I accented or scraped these reins, I'm going to come in here. Make sure those are there. Make sure those pop. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Let's come in here and I'm going to use that same technique for the bushes. Kind of break up part of that mane there. I don't know if that's actually the correct, I'm using mane. I think that's like a lion thing, but. Okay, that looks pretty good there. I'm actually liking the way this is turning out. Again, y'all, you do not know until the end. I probably sound like a broken record saying that over and over again, but you really don't. All right, let's get this kind of, I'm going to scratch in where that belly cinch would be. And I'm going to get scratched where the looks like there's a lever action rifle strapped to the side of our horse here, so we're gonna bring that back in. Okay. Kind of pulled in there like that. What I'm gonna do is we'll put that stock there. That. And then I'm going to re-scrape those lines in. May have to do it again in a minute. And coming out the other side here, we've got basically that. Not the best shape I've ever come up with, but it'll work. All right, I'm going to grab some just pure burnt sienna here. I want to add just some color on this guy. And again, when that dries, it won't be nearly as vibrant, but I don't know, I wanted to maybe put some of our saddlebags or something here, just with, it's just looking so gray. Okay, what do we want to do next? We're getting pretty close here. Oh, you know what? I don't see it on this horse, but I think we're gonna, yeah, let's do it. I want to add like a, on the back here. I don't know if I can get it to work. He's got his lariat on the back here. Okay, I got that going. I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased right now. The only thing I'm worried about is, let's do this. Let's break up the top of this neckline here. Okay. The only thing is again, it looks nice right now, but it is going to dry just so much darker. All right, let's do our rains here. I want to pull them up towards. Yeah, do that. Okay. All right. Maybe just a few more touches here. Clean everything up. We are very close to being done. Just add a few more touches. Our cowboy there. Okay. Let's let this dry and we'll come back and add just a few touches and we'll be done. All right, let's finish this up, y'all. This has been the longest video ever, but yeah, hopefully it's been helpful. One thing I want to do real quick is we're going to add a few highlights, but I really wanted to grab. Okay, sorry y'all, the audio actually cut out here, so I'm re-recording over a voice memo on my phone, so we'll see how this goes. But what I was saying there is that I wanted to use some of this lavender paint. It comes out with a really strong pigment, and sometimes with watercolor we don't really get the opportunity to paint with powerful pigments, and so I just wanted to grab a little bit of that. Now I'm going to use some white gouache here. This is something I use with a lot of my paintings just to add a few highlights. I'm actually sticking it on the board behind the painting because my cap has gotten messed up, so I can't keep the paint like wet enough to use, so I'm going to stick it up there, mix it with a little bit of water, and now we'll add a few highlights here. I try to keep this pretty minimal. I like to scratch out my highlights more than using gouache at the end, but sometimes you just, maybe you didn't have in mind some part of your painting, and then at the end you're like, for example, right here, with that lariat on the side, I didn't think about that until after I had lost the opportunity to scratch that out. So I'm also going to highlight a few pieces of the horse's tack and reins here, and then that stirrup there on the side, just giving it just a little bit of something. Again, there was a rifle right there slung through the saddle. It didn't really come out as clean as I'd hoped, but that's okay. We're going to add a few highlights here on our cowboy. We'll do something on the front of the brim, and then maybe see if we can stick some highlights just on the bandana and maybe the tops of the sleeves in the back, just to show a little bit of sun getting caught on the figure as it's going down. Now you'll see here I try to put like a little reflection on the boot, and kind of get it messed up. So we're gonna fix that here in just a second. But again, people always get intimidated to try things with watercolor. You know, they're not quite sure how it's going to look, but you know, just go for it. If it's still wet, you can always fix whatever. And I felt like I put a little bit too much gouache on that bandana, so we're going to cover that back up. Now we're going to get a little bit of brown and just clean that boot up a little bit. All right. Now, next, you're going to see me start to think about something here. Well, at first I'm going to add some kind of dark things again to this horizon line, just to kind of frame it up nicely. But what I start to talk about here is, and I'm sorry, I'm going to add a little shrub. And I think I may add a little bit of darkness to the bottom of this foreground, again, just to help kind of pull everything forward. I work on a shrub over here on the left as well. Let's see. I'm going to end up adding some flowers here in just a moment, and I'll talk about that. But first, let's see if I start to do it here. Yeah, we're going to add the flowers first. So again, this is kind of similar to the lavender, where this red paint over here, and I think this is a crimson red, it's just nice sometimes to throw a pop of color in there. It's definitely something that I'm not great at. A lot of my paintings are a little bit more on the gray side, so adding a bit of bright color kind of helps add some contrast and interest, and just the way this is framing up, I thought some kind of flowers or like a plant right here would look really nice. Not sure what kind it is. Kind of reminds me of like a hot poker, but I think those only have flowers on the very, very tips of the reeds or stems. I'm going to add our stems here. Again, just kind of working my way through. You know, this was not originally in the sketch, or I should say in the subject photo, but I don't know, just add a little interest. You know, don't be afraid to try things out. Okay. Now this might be where I try something that I end up regretting, but again, it's okay to try things, right? So what I'm contemplating here is I'm wondering about adding a shadow. And I start to talk about this and I'm thinking, I don't know, it could look nice. You're going to see me start to mix a wash together. And what I decide to do is, you know, hey, let's give it a try. Now I'm going to spray the paper beforehand, and this does two things. If you're about to do something and you're not quite sure how it's going to end up, spray a little bit of water on the paper. And if you end up not liking it, you see me grab the bottle here, it's easier to use that paper towel to just kind of dab it out. It's really no big deal. So I'm going to start to brush in a shadow. And pretty quickly I go, I don't like this. It kind of is too close in tone to that bush that I worked on earlier. And, you know, I already think the painting looks pretty nice. So I'm like, let's leave it as is. Again, I talk about this, but if you have to look for more than, say, 10 seconds at your painting and you're not sure what to add, chances are you might be done. So let's blot that out very quickly. And then, yeah, I'm just adding some dark here at the bottom, again, to just pull that foreground forward. And then I think that's going to be about it. I'm going to take the paint off here in just, or excuse me, take the tape off here in just a second. So we'll sign it, and then I'll walk back through what I like about this piece and what I don't. Again, this is always the coolest part, is like you take the tape off, it just starts to frame everything up, and I don't know, it just looks so nice when you get those nice clean edges. Unfortunately, on the bottom here, we got a little bit of leak through. But that's okay. Sometimes if the paint hasn't dried too much underneath there, like if that leak through came through during your final raw wash, you can apply a little bit of water and a paper towel and pull it away. And that's what I'm talking about here. You can see me pointing on the screen. So I'm going to dip my brush in a little bit of water and we're going to rub it on that left-hand corner. Saturate that dry paint a little bit, and we'll dab it with a paper towel and see if it comes off. If it comes off, you can, you know, kind of work your way around and clean it up. But if it doesn't, it's better just, you know, being left alone. Again, not the end of the world. All right, you'll see here, we give it a little try, and it doesn't do very much. But that's okay. Again, no issues whatsoever. Okay. So let's talk about our painting, what we like and what we don't like. So I've got a little dot up there, and I talk about this for a second, but we're just going to turn this into a bird. I don't remember when that little fleck of paint got up there, but I kind of liked it. Kind of added to the Southwest vibe, maybe a vulture or something up there. Overall, really liked this painting. I think it turned out well. I appreciate anybody that is still with me now. This was one of the longest demos. I'm talking a little bit about our Cowboy here. Again, I think it turned out okay. The Cowboy I'm not super crazy about. I think the horse looks excellent. I'm not super strong with my figures, and so I think the front of the Cowboy's face, like the ratio of the nose and the chin, maybe could have been a little bit better. But overall, very pleased with this. I hope y'all learned something, and just remember to keep on painting. If there's something that you're interested in seeing, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you feel like I could have done better, and I will see you guys next time.